Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and we're wearing the hat because we're having what can only be described as a bad hair day. Today I have a reading vlog for you. It is going to be exceptionally grand because I think I finished a grand total of one book this week and I haven't read since Tuesday, but let's go ahead and see.
I finished Crimson Snow yesterday morning, and that last story was not the best for me. I don't think it ended with a good story. I think it should have ended with Mr. Cork's secret, because it didn't do it for me. Really liked the style of writing. However, it did that thing with mysteries where they don't really leave you the clues so that the reader can come up with the answers themselves, and I like to do that. It's like an episode of CSI I watched a few years ago where none of the suspects were the killer. It was all to do with some person we'd never even seen in the episode. But because of science, they were able to figure out who did it. And I just thought, great, so you just pulled an extra in off the street. I was most frustrated with that episode. And that's how I felt with this short story. Overall, the rest of the collection was good. I haven't brought it to the shop with me yet because I'm wondering whether I'd like to hold on to it and reread it. But we'll see. I then read Father Christmas's Fake Beard, and I had that over in about half an hour, really. It's a very, very fast book, you know, large font, pictures, definitely for children, but the tiniest bit hilarious, reminded me of, you know, great British humour, everything I've come to expect from Terry Pratchett. I started listening to Harry Potter of the Order of the Phoenix, the audiobook, from the point I left off at reading, and I listened to 230 pages worth of material before I went to bed. Basically, I was making a roast dinner for everyone, and that's not really conducive to actually being able to read at the same time, because you've got to prepare a lot of stuff, cook a lot of stuff, and then Doctor Who was on. Obviously, I wasn't listening to it during Doctor Who. Then I got about another hour and a half in before I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here came on. Then I was working on a programme for tonight, for our event, and that means that I don't know that I'll get much reading done today, listening, whatever you want to call it. I will probably drop in tomorrow and tell you what I'm reading this week.
Today has had something of the strange start. Last night, at the King Edward Street Chapel, everything went fantastically. The audience were great, the writers who were reading read some fantastic pieces, and I forgot absolutely everything I'd taken with me. So, this morning, very early, 6:10, I awoke because I'd left my favourite book of Christmas there. And for whatever reason, that's become a bit special to me. And I was really worried that someone was going to take it and in being kind to me would write something inside, such as my name, and it worried me. And so last night's insomnia was fueled by that thought. And therefore, today, I went to town with my brother and my dad to do Christmas shopping, of which I bought nothing, and they bought nothing because apparently they were going to buy for me. And then my father drove me back up there, I got my books, and then I've walked home. But it's now 1 o'clock, and I had planned to have finished reading, listening to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by now, to have started something else. And so all of my plans have been pushed back. I finished listening to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix on the audiobook. Basically, I really hated this book this time around. This book has always been one of my least favourite to go back to. It was my least favourite growing up, and even now it continues to be the one that I cannot stand. And the reason behind this is simply the character of Professor Umbridge. She fills me with such unease, and I cannot stand it. And every time I read it, despite the fact I know what's going to happen, it still gets to me. And the last time I read this, I happened to really enjoy the book. It moved up in my estimations, but this time around, I just couldn't get through it properly. But luckily, listening to it, having Stephen Fry narrating it, and listening to it at 2.5 speed really helped me to get through this one. Still really enjoy Harry Potter as a series, but I just don't like this book. I think that upon rereading now and thinking more seriously and possibly critically, this book is way too long, and I think there's too many words and not enough happening, if that makes any sense. They're just, looking back at this book, nothing seems to happen. The story doesn't seem to progress any further than a prophecy, and I feel like this could have been an extraordinarily short book, and much less long-winded. I've continued with the Faber Book of Christmas. I'm going to be reading chapter 12 today. I did not care for chapter 11, and I've seen that chapter 12 starts with a really long extract from D.H. Lawrence, who I don't quite like. And then I have downloaded the audiobook of The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, because it's just going to take me too long to get through reading it. The type is too small for these old eyes.
I disappeared to go and see my nephew in his nativity, 4 hours away, all up in the wilds of Northumberland. Therefore, I haven't done any reading. I did have my audiobook ready to listen to The Wise Man's Fear, but I thought it was a bit ignorant to sit for 4 hours in a car with my sister and not speak to her, and thus I haven't listened to my audiobook, I haven't read any of the book that I took with me, I didn't do a pseudo-cue, and I didn't write anything. But neither of those things happened. And so tonight I have to catch up on 3 chapters of the Faber Book of Christmas and read some more of The Wise Man's Fear. But I also think that I'm going to start a short story collection as well tonight, because I really want to be reading something Christmassy, and those Christmas short story collections that I started are quite good for that. You know what I mean. This will be Silent Nights, murder, Christmas, all that fun stuff. I'm pretty sure Brian of Brian's Bookshelves mentioned it over on one of his videos, but I can't be sure.
And that's the reading vlog. Basically, after Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, a lot of opportunities came my way to go and enjoy myself. Going to see my nephew in his nativity, which I will probably go on about until the end of time. And then last night we had the Christmas pie. The works Christmas do. And I won't lie, Charlie did get somewhat inebriated. For the first time in my life, I ended up dancing, and there is a video somewhere of that happening. Anyway, what are your reading plans for this week? Do let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.